So this is my starter jar. It's a glass sealing jar, but I took the rubber off of it because you don't want to have a airtight seal. Otherwise, when the yeast is feeding, it might explode. So you don't want that. I start with 30 grams of sourdough starter, and then I feed it 90 grams of water and 90 grams of flour. And so I'll end up with 210 grams, which is 200 grams is what I'll use to bake my bread with. And then I'll have a little extra left over to feed my next batch. I'm using white flour today. I kind of mix it up. Sometimes I add a little rye flour in there. And now I'm going to add the water. And then you just stir it up. I use a rubber spatula, and then when I'm done giving it a good stir, making sure that all of the flour is coated, I scrape down the sides of the jar. And if you want to leave it out on the counter for about 4 hours before you use it, it really depends on the weather. If it's warmer, it's going to be ready in 4 or 5 hours. If it's colder, it could take longer, 6. Commonly, I will feed it at night and then bake with it in the morning after I leave it out on the counter all night. But it really is depending on the weather. The yeast is a lot more active when it's warmer. I have a little dough scraper so I can scrape the excess off. I just put the lid on this and then I'll let this sit out for a few hours and bake with it later. Don't be afraid to give sourdough a chance because it totally changes your baking and it's really fun. It makes the bread delicious and you don't need to throw away all of that starter. You can, and you can make really good pancakes with it, and that's a totally different thing. But I really encourage you to give the system of maintaining a smaller amount of starter a try.